Alright, so the problem we have here is find the exact value of cotangent of negative 5 pi over 12. In this problem, I'm going to use a sum or difference formula because 5 pi over 12 is not an angle that I'm familiar with. However, if I change the angles that I am familiar with to have a denominator of 12, I can see that if I add or subtract some of them, I get 5 pi over 12. What am I talking about? Well, look at pi over 6 and pi over 4. If I change them to have a denominator of 12, 2 pi over 12, and pi over 4 would be 3 pi over 12. If I add them together, I get 5 pi over 12. So these are the angles I'm going to use. But this one is a little tricky because, first of all, it's got a negative sign. So I could deal with negative 5 pi over 12, but just to make it easier for myself, I'm going to use the fact that cotangent is odd, and I'm going to pull the negative out and bring it to the front of the function. So the first thing I'm going to do is make this negative cotangent of 5 pi over 12. That way I can just use 2 pi over 12 plus 3 pi over 12. The other thing is I don't have a formula for cotangent. So what am I going to use? I do have a formula for sine, cosine, and tangent. So I'll use the tangent formula, get that answer, and then find the reciprocal. So I'm going to find tangent of 5 pi over 12 and use the reciprocal of this to get cotangent. Alright, so there's a lot of things we have to do. So we have to first find tangent of 5 pi over 12 using the sum formula for tangent. Then I'm going to flip it, use the reciprocal, and then I don't want to forget, I also want to attach a negative at the end. So how would I use the formula? So let's talk about tangent of 5 pi over 12, which is the same as tangent of 2 pi over 12 plus 3 pi over 12, which we know is tangent of pi over 6 plus pi over 4. Okay, so let's first find tangent of pi over 6 plus pi over 4, and let's erase the board. Okay, so we're trying to find tangent of pi over 6 plus pi over 4, so we have to remember the formula. What's the formula? In the numerator, you add tangent of each together. Notice if this is a plus in the numerator, it's a plus. And then the denominator, it's 1 minus, opposite sign on the denominator, multiply those two together. Okay, so there's the formula. Now we have to figure out what tangent of 30 degrees is and what tangent of 45 degrees is. Tangent of 45 degrees is easy. We know that's 1. But what's tangent of 30 degrees? Let me do that over on the side. Here's 60. Tangent of 30 is opposite over adjacent. Opposite is 1/2 over adjacent. The 2's would cancel. The square root of 3 is in the denominator, so it must be square root of 3 over 3. Okay, so I have everything I need to fill in. So tangent of 30 degrees is square root of 3 over 3 plus 1 all over 1 minus tangent of 30 times 1. Okay, so now we're going to have to clean this up. Well, this is easy. I would multiply these two together, but it's times 1, so I don't have to rewrite this. But this is a complex fraction, so I'm going to multiply everything by 3 to get rid of the denominator. So multiply by 3, multiply by 3, multiply by 3, multiply by 3. And things cancel. But we need more space. So if we multiply by 3, what happens? These 3's would cancel, and we get square root of 3 plus 3 in the numerator, 1 times 3. And here we get 3 minus square root of 3. All right, now if this was just a tangent problem, I would rationalize the denominator now, multiplying by the conjugate 3 plus square root of 3. However, remember we were solving for cotangent, and since this is tangent, I'm now going to flip it. I think it's easier to flip it first, find the reciprocal, and then multiply by the conjugate. Because if you flipped it, if you multiply by the conjugate, rationalized it, and then flipped it, you have to rationalize it again. So let's go ahead and find cotangent of 5 pi over 12, which is the reciprocal of what we just found. So let's go ahead and flip that. So it'd be 3 minus square root of 3 over, square root of 3 plus 3. This I want to rationalize. So I'm going to multiply the top and bottom by pi radical 3 plus 3. What is the conjugate? Square root of 3 minus 3. Right? Opposite sign. So now we have to FOIL. So let's FOIL the top. So we get 3 times radical 3. I went black. 3 times radical 3. And then 3 times negative 3, negative 9. Negative square root of 3 times square root of 3, that's negative 3, plus 3 times radical 3, right? Minus and a minus makes a plus. 3 times radical 3. All over, what's in the denominator? Well, remember this is the conjugate, so it's the first term squared minus the last term squared. I mean, you could FOIL that out, but you'll see you'll get that. Now let's clean this up, combine like terms. Okay, so let's combine like terms. We can do 3 radical 3 plus 3 radical 3. What's that? 6 radical 3 minus 12 all over 3 radical 3 squared. That's 3. That's 3 minus 9. 3 minus 9 is negative 6. Let's divide everything by negative 6. And I have negative square root of 3 plus 2. Okay, right? 6 radical 3 divided by negative 6 is negative radical 3. Negative 12 divided by negative 6 is a positive 2. All right, so that's cosine of 5 pi over 12. But the question was cosine of negative 5 pi over 12. Remember, we had taken that negative out. So this is the last step. We're almost done. Cotangent of negative 5 pi over 12. So I have to throw a negative in front of that answer. So that would be square root of 3 minus 2. And we are finished.